Hola, Filterinos, and welcome to the PopFilter Podcast, the progenitor of the superhero show, nay, our movie of the year, Nutflex and the OCD. This is the only podcast conglomerate with the science and the screaming to determine what the greatest piece of pop culture has been for this entity's existence. While Movie of the Year is currently covering 1975 and the superhero show is digging into the comic book-based shows and comic book property-based shows out currently, in these bonus shows we're going to be figuring out and celebrating 10 years of YourPopFilter by figuring out the best albums, TV comedies, TV dramas, and movies from 2011 to 2020. Tonight, we are focused on the albums of those 10 years, and I'm your host and PopFilter co-founder, Mike Gravano. Applause. With me for over a decade is one Ryan R. Grumpus.
Well, it's not over a decade, because this is our 10th year anniversary, so...
I wish I knew how to count, and I'm going to blame Core, and not that I'm bad at math.
Is this our 11th
10-year
year?
anniversary was summer 2020, because that's how years actually work.
What a bomb to drop right now at the start of this.
This is year 11. In all fairness to me, I started planning these shows in 2019.
That is true.
And then forgot why I started planning so early.
Incredible intro, Mike. First of all, thank you for having me. Incredible intro. Brought a tear to my eye, not just to hear about all of the shows and all of the intros slammed together, but also just so many failures in your thing. Just so many failed projects and bad ideas.
Just because things lasted, all of those lasted at least a year. That's not a failure in podcasts nor relationships. If it's more than 3 months, it's a success.
Do we have a movie? Is there a movie based on Netflix? No, we're failures.
Oh, so we will never, well, you're a new daddy. There's not a movie based on your fucking kid, you failure.
Yes, that's true.
How and why did we get here, Ryan?
Why did we do this for 10 years?
Yeah, origin of PopFilter, how, and more importantly, why?
Okay, so Mike and I would have conversations about pop culture, look around, and be like, we would finish the conversation and be like, ta-da! And everyone would applaud. And then we would say, what do you guys think we should do? Like a podcast? And they would be like, yes, you absolutely should.
They said, what's a podcast? And we said, well, right now it's mostly tech geeks and comedians that are out of work. And they went, what?
And we always said, wait, is that like internet radio?
Yes.
It's really important to say that anytime somebody says podcast.
And 5 years in, people went, it's not like internet radio. And we went, we never said it was.
So I think that like so many people just sort of question the whole thing of like, why do you think that you're so important and what you talk about is so important that you need to record it for posterity's sake? And we never asked each other that. We were just like, fuck yeah, we do.
No, we looked at each other and went, we talk about movies and TV and music too much.
And
it's taking over
than.
our lives. We either need to stop consuming and talking about it or double down, put it out for the public.
And as much as podcasting has almost ruined our marriages, I do think that it sort of saved it because our wives are sick of being asked, like, do you think Stanley Kubrick would like me? Like, do you think we would hang out?
They just keep punching us in the face every time. And it brought them together. I've moved all around while you've just grounded here, and maybe that says you're stable or I'm adventurous. Who knows what it means? But I do think we are better friends with this show than without it.
Less so now after that sentence.
Oh, I meant this specific show. I thought saying that would really bring us together.
But that's a good point, though. Your need to fulfill this fucking endless hole in your heart by moving around thinking that will fix the problems in your life, it hasn't hurt our podcast, you know?
No.
Like, our two-man basketball team really suffering from you moving around.
We are both one-manners on our separate coasts.
And we get the shit kicked out of us.
Yeah, and not just, like, on the court. Like, afterwards, they beat us up for daring them. I also want to talk about, like, how great the technology is, because there is no delay these days. Internet rules versus Skype. When I was in New York, in my kitchen, I would have to unplug my refrigerator every time we recorded. Get drunk, forget, the food would go bad, get in a fight. I guess that's why that relationship ended. And just, it would take 5 hours to record a 1 hour show.
Yeah, so often Skype would be like, you know what? No. And then it would just close. It wasn't going to do it.
And then we're going to, all right.
Don't you miss the
Yeah. It's where the AOL sound still sounds chills down my spine. The boo, boo, boo. Like, just like, ooh, now we're doing it. Now we're about to talk. I think, have talked enough to each other. Let's not do it at all the rest of the night, Ryan. We are not here alone.
I want to do OCD again so fast.
Today. Yeah. Ryan! We are not here alone in this room, and we have not been alone on this journey. We have numerous special guests and more guest family. Let's do it. I'm going to just lean into mush. Our special guest, as I introduce each one of you by name, What has 10 years of Pop Filter meant to you? Starting with all the way from the superhero show's very own host, Cassie Davis.
I can't tell you, 10 years ago, I was but a wee little baby, barely out the womb, and it changed my life. I didn't know what Pop Filter was, but I knew there was something in the air that was like, this is a big thing, and you need to be a part of it. And there was always a siren call, and I didn't feel like I was home until I was at Your Pop Filter, I could say.
God. I'm gonna cry.
Yeah, I'm here for, is this one scored? Are we getting points on this one?
Beat that shit, Jason Noble.
Oh yeah, we'll also be talking shit on people who are no longer with us. Next, all the way down from down the hall, movie of the year's own Gregory Online. I should do that more and more for every voice I say. Right?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, really get everybody hyped up, if at all possible. What has Pop Filter meant to me? It's given me an opportunity to concentrate on what I really like. What I like is talking to my friends, and what I don't like is superhero shows or anything associated with superheroes. I like movies.
Yeah.
But I don't like any TV that is about a comic book, any show that's on the CW.
Mm-hmm.
Like, these are the things that I've actively learned while being on the show.
I was just saying to Mike this morning that, like, man, Greg quit Superhero Show, and I have never seen anybody express less regret about anything than that decision.
Infamous nice guy. Nothing but awful things to say every time on that show.
No, I mean, I loved being on the show. I loved that part of it. But the part where it was like, where watching Riverdale was the highlight of your week. Like, it would you get to the end of Riverdale and you're like, it's not going to fucking get better than that. It's going to get significantly worse constantly.
Yeah, but I would, have some incredible thesis statement about this week's episode of Arrow, and then Mike would just, double up on like how incredibly he was able to analyze it, and then it would cut to Greg and be like, what the fuck are we doing?
This rich asshole's in a leather hood.
How are we doing
I was
this?
literally every week saying, let's not watch any of these shows ever.
You guys, what if we were just friends and hung out and you're like, what?
And then I finally realized, like, oh, I just shouldn't be on this show.
But I do think that was all part of our trick, which is to get Greg to love movies even more.
Yeah.
Which which has totally happened. I mean, I am so in love with movies.
Yeah.
And it's 100% because of Movie of the Year.
Your joy of movies makes me angry because I don't feel that much joy about anything. And you're just like, ah! All right. From, I think it's safe to say, at least our cousin podcast, if not our little sister podcast from all the way across. Is it in the 909? It has a real 909 energy. And maybe that's because of this panelist is McKenna, a.k.a. Books from the Unnatural 20s.
I just have to make a correction here. It is now officially the 951. Get it right. And 10 years of Your Pop Filter. All my life, I've always been really called quiet. And like Cassie said a decade ago, I was a complete infant, and I think now we can know that I was just really saving my voice to be on Your Pop Filter. I just had to be obnoxious as possible for these moments.
We in so many of the Pop Filter shows, we do awards. That's what we like to do is ranking and give things away. On the few off-air awards, McKenna has won Best Guest Voice of the Superhero Show because she claimed laryngitis, but we know she housed 2 fucking cartons of Marlboros, and it still goes down. It is still talked about in the halls of Pop Filter Studio, and she's just like, here's the thing about the Flash.
One of the
That's
top moments
another thing
of my
I love
life.
about podcasting too, though. Is that in any other hobby or sport or activity or whatever, you just say, no, I can't. But with podcasting, you're like, yeah, I'll do it. I just lost an arm. I can't talk right now. I'll fucking do it.
I don't know anything about the topic. I don't really have a take on it at all.
Nah, I'll make one up.
I think McKenna's legacy for me is that she was probably the first guest, like, going through Moody and our more serious shows. I will go on a 10-minute rant that will borderline make literally no sense. Like the words don't connect. And Mike and Greg have gotten so good at so anyway, and then
We're
just moving on.
we are too supportive of friends. We are definitely enablers at this point.
And McKenna, I think, was the first person to be like, hold up. What? What the fuck was that? You guys just gonna let that go?
Why were those words in that order?
Our final guest for this show, there will be various guests from across a decade throughout this run. Our final guest for this show, I would say it is easy for podcasters to get up their own butts. And pretend what they're saying matters at all. And I think somebody who is a fucking gem at letting us know, oh, you think this 1989 mixtape is really that important? Fuck you guys. And I don't mean this as an insult. Also from the Unnatural 20s is Caitlin McDougal.
Hello, and thank you for letting me bring chaos for the past couple of years.
Just the pure
and really
arbiter.
just fuck up your mixtapes and coming in with like just vengeance at your mixtape for no reason.
But it's also what I want at a party. I want halfway through the party to be like, I get the vibe of this whole party. And then you, both in real life and on a mixtape episode, are just like, no, you fucking don't. I will change the temperature of this room.
She's got that Loki energy.
Yes.
She's an agent of chaos.
Caitlin taught me that no matter what year's mixtape we do, no matter what year it is, the California Raisins had a song that year.
Yes, they sure did. And it was iconic and remembered by all of us and loved.
So, Caitlin, 10 years of PopFilter.
10 years of PopFilter. It's been a long time. And I remember listening to your show and being just like looking at the number of episodes that you guys have been doing.
None of these are compliments. It all sounds like it.
And I was like, wow, these guys are really experienced. So then I went to your guys' live show in, the one time, and I was like, wow, these guys really know what they're doing. You guys seem like you were like doing really cool things. And then you guys had me on the show, and I was like, wow, cool. I get to be part of this. And I got to be part of fucking everything up. And I really just enjoy that.
I kept waiting for the foot to drop.
Yeah.
And I saw the live show and went, oh, I can do this.
Oh,
My first
I
response
can
when
do this
she
better.
said
No.
like she listened to the whole catalog or saw how many shows, my thought
No, I
was,
did
man,
not.
these men have no fucking lives. But she went compliment.
yeah.
This is our life. I don't understand what you mean, no life. This is the life. Thank you all for being here. I love you in varying degrees. I hate one of you. And I'm pumped to do this. Tonight we are going to talk about the subject I think we're all most comfortable about. Music. Albums. Everybody knows how to talk about it. If somebody's like, that song has angular guitars, everybody goes, for sure, I know what that means. Totally understand. But we are going to wade our way through the 16 albums that collectively identify the 10 years of PopFilter. We will be saying what each year represents, and some of our guests got to say, hey, 10 years is not enough for a bracket. Here's a goddamn album you guys are dumb for not giving enough credit to.
Well, I mean, to be fair, the brackets do have to have a certain amount of things in it, so we can't have a 10-thing bracket.
You can't have a 10-thing bracket.
I think a lot of people think that we could, and then I would just say, you don't know enough about brackets then.
I'm going to be honest. For 9 years, I kept saying, but why don't we just do 7?
Yeah.
And you're like, I thought we covered brackets, man. And I was like, yeah, numbers, okay.
Mike,
so
you have already proved that you cannot count to 11 on the show.
no,
so.
no, I'm aware. I'm a mathist. And with that, we're going to take the longest break in the world and then dive in to the albums of the last 10 years.
Well, that is very, very funny. Or very sad, and perhaps now you have something to think about. Or very problematic, and perhaps we have something to think about. But in any event, I'm sure you have some reaction to what you're listening to. So why not check us out on the social media? You can go to Instagram or Twitter and find us at YourPopFilter. Email contacts@YourPopFilter. Hey, everybody, keep watching them movies.
Round 1, Battle 1 is Run the Jewels, RTJ2.
Yes, Mike? What is that album?
It is, I'm going to give a little bit of what I'm going to say away. It is their first official album after a series of mixtapes, Killer Mike and LP. And if you're a dork like me, this is the album that made you get into this duo.
Run them jewels fast. Run them, fuck the slow-mo.
I don't want to give this battle away, but this is, I think, the most played song on my Spotify for the last 10 years. Versus Passion Pit's Gossamer.
What is that one?
I once saw Passion Pit at Coachella before it was cool. I bought Coachella tickets 3 days before Coachella happened. It was not sold out yet. MGMT was there. They sucked. Passion Pit, the better MGMT.
Oh, you heard it here.
Dang.
Is this the song?
You know what, Ryan? Take a walk. Not yet.
You hold off on that walk.
Why don't we talk about Passion Pit a little bit?
I have a sentence for you. And then we can talk about Passion Pit. And if you're a longtime listener, you know what that means. 2014's Album of the Year, Run the Jewels 2, elevated the band's popularity with their first non-mixtape. Caitlin's pick, Passion Pit's Gossamer, was the band's second album released in 2012 and also elevated their popularity while maturing their lush electropop sound. Caitlin, why this album? Why is this an album from the last 10 years we needed to talk about?
So I think there was a lot of great albums that have made the list before, but this one personally resonated with me a lot, and it's just one of those that I love to put on and just like either dance around alone or just dance around in the car too. And I think it needed to be heard by more people. Because I know the song Take a Walk was definitely big, but the whole album I feel like is just a bunch of fun electronic songs.
Yeah.
That just get you hyped.
And not like the again,
No.
I'm a dork, so that's when I think electronic.
No.
Yeah, but I do think these are pop artists who crush at making electronic music.
The electronic, they're kind of slowish sometimes, but they still like get you hyped in a weird way. And it's like, I don't know what you're saying, but I do like this.
The lyrics, though, are like depressing.
Yes.
Oh, very.
Against all of that really like upbeat electronica.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a crazy thing where, like, you feel like it's a very optimistic band just by the beat, and then once you pay attention to the lyrics, you're like, oh my god.
Yeah. That's where it hit me again. It's like, I like this. And then I was like, oh shit, I feel this.
And then Books, how do you feel about Passion Pit?
I think they are just endlessly enjoyable until you pay attention to the lyrics. But they're someone that I do listen to. They kind of fade into the background for me, though. Overall, as an album, I don't think you latch onto it and remember it as one of the top albums from the decade.
Right. There's definite standout songs that I think are worth going back to. And versus that, their old album, the album before this was fun, but this was elevated from, what was that band that did like the Fireflies? A Million Hugs.
Owl City.
And this, like, Passion Pit leaned a little too Owl City on their first album, and this, they're like, well, we're adults. And I think it's well worth listening to. But Run the Jewels 2 also came out in those 10 years. And I don't want to put my money or my thumb on the scale, because I don't know how scales work. But I would say it's a safe bet to maybe say RTJ could take this whole fucking thing.
I think that there might be an argument for artist of the decade for us.
Yeah.
I think that there might be a couple of other people that come up, but I think that like there's no artist or group or band or whatever you want to call it that is more referenced, more like Brother Jewels is just our fucking shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're one of the most respected too. Like, it's one of the bands where, you know, they put out an album and it's gonna be good. Like, we've had albums that don't stand up to specifically like this one as well, but it's still a solid, really good album. And this one was it was amazing when this came out.
And Killer Mike is basically like a philosopher and
Yes.
potential future politician.
Yeah.
In the summer of 2020, when everything was just an absolute mess, he was like one of the most clear and like concise voices about what was going on. And
Right.
I really felt like he was like saying like, why is it me? Why do I have
Right.
to be
Yeah.
the person that does this? I'm Killer Mike. I'm a rapper, but like nobody else can talk any sense right now.
Not that LP is our Flavor Flav, but we definitely
No.
needed a new Public Enemy, and that's what they
Yes.
became.
And it does feel like, and not knowing that what Jamie brings so much to the table, but like Mike does feel like the political thrust, and Jamie's like, I'm going to give you the sickest beats so people are distracted and kind of want to dance while you're giving us our modern day MLK speech.
Do you like it though that like throughout every song he just says that into the mic? Doesn't that suck?
That Killer Mike rubs it into his face a little.
And Killer Mike just like shut the
Oh, I thought you were.
fuck up, rap.
LP's like, I'm less good than you. Just so we're clear, I'm a clear number 2.
But oh, is he in the room? LP?
Maybe.
All right, it is time to vote. Books, Passion Pit's Gossamer, or Run the Jewels 2. Who's moving on?
Passion Pit's they have a great album here, but it's definitely Run the Jewels.
Fast. Greg?
Run the Jewels.
Ryan?
I don't know what the fuck a Passion Pit is. It's Run the Jewels.
Caitlin?
I'm going to stick with my pick, Passion Pit.
You know what? I like the loyalty. And Cassie?
Yeah, Run the Jewels.
Yeah, it is Run the Jewels. Obviously, moving on to the next battle. Next up, round 1. Battle 2. Janelle Monae's Dirty Computer a controversial artist with the people specifically in this show. It is divided, I'd say, almost in half. The people who slobbed all over this album and everything she's done, and the people who are just like, no thank you, and you're dumb if you like it.
Pink like the inside of your baby, pink behind all of the doors. Crazy pink like the tongue that goes down. Maybe pink like the paradise found.
Versus, and I didn't even mean to set this up, but versus Taylor Swift's 1989. This truly does feel like movie of the year versus the Unnatural 20s on these two.
Hey, you know what's fucking stupid, Mike?
What?
Having 6 people on a show where we vote.
I'm the host, so I either don't vote or vote twice. We'll see. 2018's album of the year, Dirty Computer, saw Janelle Monae pushing even further into experimenting with genre bending while simultaneously becoming more vulnerable than her android persona from previous albums. Book's pick, 1989, saw Taylor Swift taking in her reputation and the world's view by the horns while fully leaving country crossover behind and embracing synth pop. Books, 1989, Taylor Swift, why does it deserve to be talked about for the last 10 years of music?
I think this is a clear, like, timeless and nearly perfect cohesive pop album. It is everything that pop should be. It's arguably her top 3 albums. And if we're talking just like 2010, before Folklore and Evermore, the top album.
Yes,
it's a gem.
Sure. This is the one. I think this might be the last physical CD I bought. I heard Blank Space and drove to a Target when we still thought it was cute to say Target.
Shit. Hold on. It's important that everybody knows that I started a vinyl collection. I have this on vinyl. So.
Oh, why am I talking at all, Ryan? And play this nonstop until my now wife, after a few weeks of it, she was like, I might not want to date you. Like, we might be done if you don't turn this off. And then when her next 2 albums out, she's like, did you know Taylor Swift is really good? I was like, you always do this. I try to show you Liz. Never mind. That's not what we're here to talk about.
I am also in a relationship where I like Taylor Swift more than my lady wife does. Mm-hmm. And it's always a little awkward because it's like, come on, aren't we both hyped? And she's like, no.
But I do think, like, more confidence than anybody since, like, Len, that you will come around. You can fight it now, but you will fucking come around. I swear, I fought it, and I came around.
And I do think an artist with her kind of career, she has an album for you. She is in the pop world pretty experimental, and what I like is she doesn't seem like that on the surface at all.
Oh yeah. Taylor Swift. Okay, so when I heard that 1989 was going to be on this, I was like, well, but Taylor Swift has so many other great albums. Am I mad because this one? So then I started listening and I was like, no, 1989 was a really fucking good album and it fucking bumped. And I feel like Taylor Swift always, like you were saying, has an album that fits any kind of situation. Yeah. Or as you're growing, like, oh, I'm here with you, Taylor. Like, it's Taylor Swift really fucking gets in. She's really good with lyrics and then also does a great job at pairing the music with it. So my fucking girl, I love her. I love her.
The summer this came out, this was like the Boy Trip album.
Yes.
And
that's the kind of guys we are.
Yeah, that gave that Boys Trip a very specific energy.
Speaking of boys, though, the boys that are on, like, talked about in this album, I feel like that's a whole separate part of this album itself, is the pop culture that surrounded it and trying to figure out what each song, who it was about, what situation, and like reading into the music videos and everything like that. There's a whole song called Style on this album about Harry Styles very clearly. And how horny she is for him, and I was like, "Ooh, Taylor Swift is horny."
This was the album she let us know she's horny.
Yeah.
Books, I would say, I think this is a great entry into the fight. Defend New York.
Defend New York.
Defend the New York, the opening song. Welcome to New York.
Oh, Welcome to New York. Welcome to New York just kind of invites you into the feel of the whole album, which is very much like Taylor saying, hey, we can all celebrate something about ourselves here, and we can all individualize but also come together. Because this was the start of like Taylor's girl gang kind of movement too. So
I love the most famous person for having a girl gang that nobody can name anybody else in the gang.
That's like Elizabeth Taylor, Katharine Hepburn. I can't remember.
Yeah, all the greats.
Athena, goddess of wisdom.
We are talking a lot about Taylor Swift. Unnatural 20s. Does that make you nervous?
No.
Okay, because she is up against Janelle Monae's Dirty Computer 2014. If I remember correctly, we were all friends at this point. We've been friends a long time.
Yeah.
And we were up its butt. We being Movie of the Year boys. And I'm going to say it is too sexual. I'm putting it out there. That is why the U20s did not like it. Because
Didn't Caitlin say that?
I did.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're not
Quote
like
me.
reading.
Quote me.
No, I'm just trying to remember.
I think
from
I
7
need to
years ago.
separate
me.
myself from this because
I love
Dirty
that.
Computer is one of my favorite albums. So
Caitlin's
I'm not the
opinion was so loud, I did put it on all of you.
No. When
Yeah.
we did this, Caitlin ran around the room. She's like, I'm Caitlin, and this is too sexual. And then she ran to the other side like, I'm McKenna. This is too sexual.
I remember, Mike, you came and you were like, you're going to love this one. And then everyone's like, Caitlin, you're going to love this. And I was like, I don't like it.
And we like just met. It was just so dancey and groovy. And I was
Yeah.
like, I don't know this girl that well, but I think she really likes to dance and bop.
Yeah.
And it's one of the most bop-tastic albums of the decade.
Weren't you listening to it at work?
Me? No.
Oh, okay. I pictured you listening to this at work and just being like sinking down into your chair.
Was she just singing about cunnilingus?
Just so everybody knows, Caitlin's day job is DJ at a strip club. So
Yes.
that does make sense.
Coming to the stage. Caitlin, dang, you got the voice.
Also, we are talking about Caitlin from like 8 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, like maybe the album grew on her.
No. I tried.
The
'cause I was
voice
like,
crack there was perfect.
No, because I tried. I was like, maybe it's different now. Like, I don't know. No, it doesn't vibe with me.
Yeah.
Like, the music is good, but I just don't. Even if without listening to the lyrics, I just don't. It doesn't vibe with me.
I think that Dirty Computer is the closest that we might get on this bracket to like awesome songs all the way down, like hits, bop, singles. And also at the same time, a piece of complete art.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
This
A
is
lot of albums will pick one of those two things to be.
Yes.
This one does it both.
And she was definitely like,
Drop the mic.
I don't think we had Lost Prince yet, but she was like, we're gonna, right? Like, and she was like, here's your Prince album for the new millennium. Like, and I think balancing the Prince-like guitars and the dancey grooves, and she did drop the Android shit, which I don't say shit like derogatorily. That stuff is awesome. But she was just like, I'm Janelle. Like, and Greg, you look like you wanted to say something.
Yeah, I love this album. It's a powerful like claiming of sexual identity. If Taylor Swift told us on 1989 that she was horny, Janelle Monae showed us what real horniness really is, and like a sort of all inclusive horniness. And I like what Ryan said about that it is also then very fun to listen to, and it does feel like a fully realized project. And yeah, one of maybe like two albums that we're going to be talking about that like art seems to be like the way to frame it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that like a really completely realized full piece of capital A art.
I'm also going to give bonus points too, and this goes to both ladies, Janelle and Taylor. I'm on a first name basis with both of them. Like releasing an album in the last decade and having a full fleet of music videos to come with them.
Yeah.
I think that's fucking sweet.
That is the bold new era. After people were like, music video's dead, there's a bunch of artists who went, no, it's fucking not.
Not when you got this big pair of pink pants.
It is time to vote. Caitlin, I think I know. Where are you going?
Taylor Swift, 1989.
All right, Greg.
Oh, it's Dirty Computer for me for sure.
Cassie.
There was a smear campaign in my household against Janelle Monae, so I wasn't allowed to listen to it actually. So I have come back to it. So now I'm gonna vote Janelle.
No!
Hell yeah! Major coup here.
And I think this is going to be the hardest decision. It is an album you love versus the album you picked. Books.
This is really tough because, yeah, I'm a huge Taylor fan. I think this is one of her best albums. But if we're talking about near perfect album and art, I think it's Janelle Monae.
I like the what's the word I'm looking for? Not transparency, integrity.
Yeah,
I like the
right?
integrity that you bring to the game.
So you compliment Caitlin for picking her pick, and then McKenna for not.
Yeah, I have no
Loyalty,
integrity.
Loyalty.
I am. Oh, not yet, Greg. I am only giving compliments.
Cool. I'm glad to hear that.
Ryan, I love you. I think it's clear, but Ryan, who would you have picked?
I love that Taylor Swift album. I do think that this is the one that like got me into her. Like where I said, let's just see what surrounds the singles, because the singles were so good from this. Like they were so good, and then I like this what surrounded them even more, especially the New York song. And
It sucks.
here's what New York is like.
Even
I do
Out of the
feel
Woods,
welcome
which is
to New
lame,
York.
I love.
It's so nice to finally be welcomed to
Thank
New
you.
York,
Yes,
okay?
thank you,
By
Taylor.
the ambassador of New York, Taylor Swift, and we're all. I mean, I don't know what you have a problem with.
I just think there wasn't Pizza Rat, there wasn't piss-covered trash.
She never said, "I'm
mounds.
walking here."
She never walked here. I don't think she's been to New York.
I will say maybe expand your horizons.
I think
Like,
it's welcome to New York, New
Cincinnati,
York.
Taylor.
She's about the casino in Las Vegas. All right, Janelle Monae's Dirty Computer moves on. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, round 1, battle 3. Hola, Filterinos. I just wanted to interrupt real briefly and say thank you for listening. Thank you for your support. If you want to support us a little more directly, you can go to patreon.com/YourPopFilter. There, depending on what tier you pick, $1 a month, $5 a month. If you're crazy, anything more than $5 a month, don't do that. You can get extra content. There's extra shows, extra series, behind-the-scenes stuff. You could pay for Ryan to draw you a picture. I can write you a poem. You can get the shirts off our very own backs. All of that and so much more over at patreon.com/YourPopFilter. While you're on the internet, you should check out Shady Monk. He does all the tunes you've been listening to. He's on Bandcamp, he's on Spotify, SoundCloud, wherever kids get their music these days that I'm too old to know. Shady Monk lives there. You can probably follow him on Twitter and Instagram as well. That's Shady Monk, wherever you get music. Round 1, battle 3. Fiona Apple's Fetch the Bolt Cutters of 2020. The album title was taken from, I want to say, a show called The Fall. The line is, fetch the bolt cutters and get yourself out of that fucking situation, which I'm going to say, spring of 2020, we couldn't, but it was the energy we needed.
she was the bolt cutters.
She fetched herself.
Got us all out of the situation with little joy.
This album is going up against FKA Twigs' second album, Magdalene. The UK artist also grew in popularity and vamped throughout her career. This album is based on her breakup of Robert Pattinson.
I walk out the door, it starts our last goodbye.
This is the weird shit versus weird shit battle.
What a fucking power couple. Like, what a, like, could I please come to your dinner party couple?
Fiona and
Robert Pattinson and FKA Twigs.
Yes.
I'd be cool enough, right?
I think so. I think they'd be like, he's cool. He'd be friends with us. 8 years after Idler Wheel, Fiona Apple released the 2020 Album of the Year, Fetch the Bolt Cutters, and took the music world by storm with her controlled improvisations, household percussion, and confinement themes, as it was serendipitously released during quarantine. She recorded it not knowing we'd all be in quarantine. She's a witch, but she's not like a future predictor. With 2019's Album of the Year, Magdalene, FKA Twigs fully succumbs to the heartache and beauty of lost love. Oh, this fucking song. Lost love, while putting every genre into a goddamn blender. And nobody talk, because this song will make me fall to my knees and cry every time I listen to it.
When all I do is fire, they wanna see us.
Caitlin, I'm going to say, king of hating the weirder shit some of us on these shows are into. How are you feeling right now, since this is a weird shit album versus a weird shit album?
So I actually really like FKA Twigs.
Really?
Like this album, I really, really enjoyed. Fiona Apple's, on the other hand, I didn't like, which I think it's like, yeah, I know. We have Fiona Apple fanboys here. You're all going to be fucking mad at me.
It was reflexive. I'm sorry.
What do you be? I mean, obviously they're different genres. They're definitely different artists. But what does it for you with FKA Twigs that Fiona does not?
I think it's just, you know how people like appreciate different art? I just really liked FKA Twigs much better, whereas
thanks
the
for
dogs
specifics.
barking of the Fetch Bolt Cutters
Do you
wasn't
tend
for
to,
me.
You tend to like electronica more, right?
Yes.
Rather than like actual.
Cabinet slamming and recording them.
Yeah. But so FKA Twigs it digs so deep into that and
Yeah.
it's so much layered electronic sound that I think it's just like a Caitlyn specific sound.
Yeah.
I
Books?
think FKA Twigs invites you in more to her pain, whereas Fiona Apple kind of holds you at a distance and like tells you you're supposed to figure it out on your own, and I'm not gonna help you out there, which makes it just a little more accessible.
McKenna, I totally agree with you if you switch the names that you said. Then I absolutely agree with you 100%. There is not a single feeling that Fiona Apple has ever had that we don't totally know about, and that's why I love her.
But her music doesn't immediately, because there's so many other elements going on in there, it can be a little bit harder to immediately get there. Whereas like FKA Twigs, like you hear Cellophane and you're like, I'm dying.
See, okay, so I understand what's going on. It's just that like musical artists, they like listen to their song and they're like, wait, hold on. Slam some cupboard doors. Now it's for smart people. And that's why you guys don't get it.
Do you think it's sonically Fiona leads a little into the Bjork of, is this a song?
Well, honestly, I think just the way that she does it is by banging cabinets or
Right.
playing the piano very hard or by vocal, weird vocalizations. Whereas the way FKA Twigs does it is by layered electronic sound.
Yeah.
So it's just like and I think for us there is a continuity with Fiona Apple. Like we have been there album after album after album. And so because of that, like we don't need any sort of entry into it.
Every point she's been in her womanhood, we've been in our womanhood at the same time.
Yeah,
Like,
basically.
But is this almost like a practical effects versus CGI? Like the three older people who are like, I like when you made the noises yourself.
it legit might be a generational divide here.
And younger people are like, and this is crazy because like FKA Twigs rules. Like,
Yeah.
she's one of my favorites. But
This shit's hard because we love both artists.
right? But we're like, you made that with a computer and it wasn't even dirty. That's stupid.
Look, if you're gonna play with a computer, better be dirty.
But like Fiona Apple is my age.
Right.
So like we grew up together.
Oh man,
So,
she's more successful than you.
A little bit.
No, we'll see.
We-
Okay, no, jury's still
Is
out,
she
jury's out.
married to Kelly? No.
J-Lo
right? I'm
might
killing it in
dance
that
to
regard.
Greg's voice saying, heck yeah. We'll see. It is... FKA Twigs has never written a song about Largo, my favorite theater in the United States of this America, and Fiona Apple has, so I don't know.
Oh my god, fuck! I'm so sorry. I do own Fetch the Bolt Cutters on vinyl.
Oh,
yeah.
Great. Somebody different will get a point every time Ryan lists off his vinyl collection.
Mike got it for Stephanie's birthday, so
Ding, ding, ding.
yeah, there we go. I thought
Cass-
you were going to give that point to me. That's why I
Nope.
said there you go.
Cassie,
Yeah.
where are you leaning?
For
It's voting time.
it's voting time. For me, it is like I
Guys,
needed
always vote.
always vote.
Yeah, register.
So important.
Just vote.
Or
There,
die.
rock the vote.
Look, vote or die, hydrate or die, rock the
Skate or
hydration,
die.
Right,
Every
skate or
day.
die. Voting is not a crime.
Piracy is a crime.
It's not a crime yet, Mike.
But yeah, for me, it is going to be FKA Twigs.
Caitlin pumping her fist into the
Premature
air.
celebration, I think.
Caitlin.
Well, I think I know how this is going to go, and I'm going to choose FKA Twigs because I have, gone to the fanboys, told them to their face I didn't like their favorite album, so I'm here for FKA Twigs.
I like to go to the most scared person in the room, so Ryan.
No, I'm freaking out. I think this would be a huge upset. But I like how Caitlin's like, I think I know how this is going to go, but your vote counts as much as all of ours. Like now FKA Twigs is 2-0.
Just a jaded cynic.
And now it's 2-1.
Because you're fetching those bolt cutters.
I'm fetching those bolt cutters,
and you're getting
bro.
your shit out of this goddamn situation.
I'm like Shamika. Thank you.
I'm at the ballet because it's 2-2. I also am fetched with both colors. It's a near thing for me though, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
it's
for
not.
sure.
This is in no way a slam dunk, but yeah, fetch the
FKA
both
Twigs
colors.
is not Passion Pit.
No.
Oh, hey. Every show's got to have
Caitlin
something to
just
dunk
fell
on.
to the ground.
Books.
I'm going to upset people here, but I'm going with FKA Twigs.
That
my
is
God.
2-3. But I'm the goddamn host and I'm voting. And Fetch the Bolt Cutters moves
All right.
Always, always.
Democracy.
on. I don't know what we were chanting. Your next battle is Round 1. Battle 4. Oh, yeah. Daft Punk. Random Access Memories. Those late, great, robotic Frenchmen did it again.
R.I.P.
2020 took so much, including Daft Punk.
Fun fact, not my favorite French electronic duo. That belongs to Justice.
Okay.
Justice is really dope.
Justice fucks.
Mike, would you like this better if it was Daft Pop Punk?
Oh, shit.
No.
Why isn't that an album? Up all night to get lucky. It's a little too hiccup. Versus Kendrick Lamar's Damn.
Are you kidding me?
Period. And we're watching Cassie melt down in real time. Look, folks, we're all going to have this battle that we don't want to ever have to have. Books did fine with hers. How will Cassie react to this battle?
I'm also on the ground.
I said I'm geek and I'm fired up. All I want tonight, just get higher. Girl, you look so good, it's to die for. Ooh, that pussy good, it's to die for.
Yeah. Cassie's pick, Random Access Memories by Daft Punk, sees the French electro duo creating an ode to 1970s and 80s American music, giving the world the danciest blend of disco, prog rock, and pop it had ever and will ever, declaring it now, seen. Kendrick Lamar's Damn, 2017's album of the year, saw Lamar continuing to evolve his storytelling prowess while losing none of his ferocious beats or sharp wit, became the first non-jazz or classical work to earn a Pulitzer Prize for music. Good job, Duckworth. Cassie,
Yeah.
you had a total meltdown. Sorry, I got lost in the groove. It is your pick versus, I think, an album you love dearly.
It is. It felt wrong to talk about 10 years of music and not have Daft Punk on there.
Mm-hmm.
But this album specifically, like this one, it stood out from the others because they told like a full story with it. Like the full thing builds. And it's one where they wanted to make sure that each instrument has a clear, like it's almost one you could pull like tracks from in order to make samples of. And they wanted to make sure of that. Also, it's just like a clear, like there's so much fun in this one while it's just like it puts you into the 80s and the 70s vibe fully.
It's so crazy when somebody says like, this album is like an entire piece of art about an album that you like. It's like, yeah, totally. And if it's about an album you don't care about, you're like, shut the fuck up. Dude. No, it's not.
No albums are art. I do like specifically the song that's the bed of what we're talking about right now. These weird French guys who only wear robot masks are like, look, we got to get the only person with dumber headwear than us. Pharrell, get over here on our song.
Okay, they have some dumb songs, but if you give them, like, all of them will build to a point where it will blow your mind. It's so good.
No, I'm so ready for so many fucking old ass. Only old people still enjoy the songs that play at every wedding to go away, and it should be replaced by Daft Punk. They are obviously our generation's dance at every party music.
Oh yeah.
But is this even their strongest album?
It's not their strongest.
Yeah.
No, it is their most, like, if you go by like what I guess an album is, like, we tend to respect like storytelling ones or ones that have, like, they set this out with a specific, it's made to be full played out from the beginning how it is.
Yeah.
So like there is one, like, if you go off of that term of an album, this is their album, I guess.
I do think it's their strongest, or whatever, as far as like critics' top 10 list,
Right.
whatever that does for you. But that shit's such like a wave, you know, like once.
Yeah.
So that's hard to say, and that everyone put this one on there because they felt stupid about not putting the other ones on there.
But I do think what we're doing here is what we do with every bracket is what defines. Normally, we're trying to define a sound of the year. I do think this versus their other albums or songs defines the existence of PopFilter more than other Daft Punk. I couldn't name other Daft Punk songs the way I can name most of this album.
Yeah, and I think a lot of them popped off kind of years after they first came out, too. So whereas this was like a very present, like, contemporary album. Like, while it was popular, it was, you know, all over the place and people were aware of it. And that was the same year it came out.
Ryan, can I request to put this? I just need this on as many
Bold
podcasts as possible to for my funeral. If you can go to Giorgio Moroder on this
Yeah.
album
This is the
and
track.
start it at like 140. So like this is how my funeral needs to go.
Specific, man.
Like
I know the sound of the future is a
The future.
synthesizer.
But I didn't realize how much the
I
impact
put a click
would
on the
be.
track.
this is like you guys need to be telling my
My
life
name is
story
Giovanni
here, and whatever
Giorgio,
my biggest
but
thing is that I've
everybody
done in
calls me
life, like is
Giorgio.
about to be the drop. And then
Yeah.
this is everybody grooves.
Oh shit!
And then Cassie was on the Pop Filter anniversary show.
You're peeking,
Robot
girl.
sad.
This is it. This is it. I've made it.
but
It's
I've
just
never
fun
said this
beats like
before,
this.
but Cassie, you have to die before me just so I can enjoy your funeral.
you've never said that before,
Yeah,
Bucks.
McKenna
You say
says that all the time.
You're reverse Arya Stark. You wake up and say the list of people you hope die before you. You're not saying you'll kill them, but you're just like, I want. True love is watching your friends die.
It's just one person on the list.
my
and it
motto.
says everyone.
Books. Random Access Memories goes up against Kendrick Lamar's Damn. Is this hard for you at all?
It's a bit hard because I do think Access Memories is an album that has brought me a lot of like joy when I listen to albums, seeing how it does work cohesively. But it's not something that I'm stressing over, which I'm sure Cassie is.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't even think Cassie is. Like Cassie's like getting her Daft Punk out right now, and then
Let's just talk about him for a second,
It's a
okay?
chance to shout out Daft Punk. I
Yeah.
think we're all down with that, but
We
it's
just
not a
need-
competition in any other way.
what's so weird is out of all the albums on this bracket, the album with Get Lucky is the album that I feel more like appreciation as opposed to enjoyment or like. You know, I do feel like okay, I got like
It's a thinker's album.
yes, even though it has that like incredibly catchy wedding song.
Yeah.
I think this is the one where like I'm glad I listened. You know, it's very impressive, but I'm moving on.
The best Daft Punk album is the live recording Alive, which is two of their CDs sort of like mixed together,
Yeah.
and is the greatest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Wait, hold on. What is that? Let me see if I can pull that up.
Alive.
I didn't hear about anything that Greg said because Kendrick's singing about simple syrup sandwiches.
They have that one of the albums is Homework, and I can't remember what the other is, but they're like the kind of all of the songs are mixed together.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And it's like it's great. It works out. What I wonder about all these CDs is, do they work out? Like, can you go to the gym listening to just this album? And Alive is one that you can totally just like work out to the entire time, if you can make it, because it's like 90 minutes long.
Oh, there was a brag. Somebody's got stamina.
When you dog it like I do, you can dog it for a while, buddy.
It's weird that Greg always talks about going to the gym and calls it raw dogging it.
Yeah, isn't that, I thought that's what we all
He's
meant.
working out barefoot.
Yeah, get my toesies on the machinery.
Also, Greg does not own a phone or an iPod. This is him singing these songs when he's at the gym.
For 90
At the
minutes
top of his
straight.
lungs.
That's lung power.
Around the world, around the world.
All right, it is voting time. You don't have to vote home, but you have to vote here.
Cool host, bro.
Greg.
Damn.
Oh, that is the name of an album we barely talked about. Caitlin.
Damn.
Cassie.
It's Damn.
Ryan.
Do we have a clean sweep?
I want to find out. Oh, yours is obviously Damn, right?
Yeah, otherwise, what a weird question. I would know the answer to the question.
Books.
It's a clean sweep.
Damn! Daft Punk. I'm glad you're alive. But you're not. You're robots and you're not a group anymore.
Yeah, for our
they
intents
died.
purposes, you were gone.
Is this your eulogy for damn?
I'm not going to be great at eulogies in general. Your next battle will take place after this break. Round 1, Battle 5. Vampire Weekends, Loud Ass Motorcycle.
I do have this on vinyl.
AKA Modern Vampires in the City. Those young preppers from the Upper West Side.
It's like what grad school sounds like.
It's like the slow motion shot from Reservoir Dogs,
Yes.
but everyone's wearing two polos at the same time.
Versus our first doubled up artist, but not only, Fiona Apple's The Idler Wheel.
You can just see her playing these.
Just loud ass timpani.
With her feet for some
Timpani
reason.
rule. The one drum you have to tune, that's crazy. Tuned to notes. I know you have to tune drums. I'm not a fucking moron.
Don't write in, okay? Shut up.
Butter. If I'm better than he's a hot knife. He makes my heart a cinema score screen showing a dancing bird of paradise. He excites me.
I feel like her albums teach you about music.
I wasn't going to talk over it. He excites me. Come on. It's so good. 2013's album of the year, Modern Vampires in the City, was...
Which is, I believe, sorry, Mike, the last time that it wasn't a single female artist.
Yeah.
Like a solo female
we
artist.
have a thing at Your Pop Filter
Yeah.
Studios. It was the band's third release as they consciously try to grow from the established sound of their previous albums while losing none of their groove and sense of fun. 2012's album of the year, The Idler Wheel is wiser than the driver of the screw, and whipping cords will serve you more than the ropes will
we
ever
just call
do.
it Idler Wheel.
So I had to say the full name once. Saw Apple fully in control of the chaos she previously brought to music with an added tinge of catchiness and pop sensibility to smooth out the weirdness without getting rid of it. Ryan.
I wish you would stop looking at me when you finish that.
Ryan, I know you're a big fan of both of these albums. These are I think the only back-to-back. These define an entire 2-year period. We call it Mike's Dark New York days of Pop Filter.
Welcome to New York.
It smells like trash.
That's your question? Okay.
It smells like trash.
Much like Run the Jewels, or maybe on a slightly lower level, these two are such fucking Pop Filter bands.
Yes.
And Fiona Apple, I feel like we're very proud of. Whereas
She's one of us. She did it.
Vampire Weekend, we're like, can't not, you know? Like, I know it's
We are
so
what we
stereotypical.
are.
It's like, I feel like we feel about Vampire Weekend the same way that we feel about Wes Anderson. Like,
Yes.
we wish we could quit it too. We know how annoying they
Get
sound.
the jokes.
Yeah.
All right?
But these are both amazing. I think that I started to fall back on Idler because of how much I liked Fetch the Bolt Cutters, a album that did move on. Okay.
Did move on.
It was a little dicey there for a second. But no, it's an absolutely incredible album. But I do think that, like, because of the way that we were raised and because of what we look like, Vampire Weekend's just in our blood. It's hard to deny.
Well, they're vampires, so
Right.
they're going to
So,
get
yeah.
in our blood one way or the other. And
Yeah.
I do think this album, they were a band that I fought against liking for so long. And then this was like, okay, they got over their Paul Simon phase, and they're adding in, they're like playing even more. Look, if you're our generation, you want Paul Simon, you want REM. They fucking do it, man. They blend so many things from
Called
the past.
reappropriation.
They
Mike.
reappropriate, but they're reappropriating Paul Simon, who originally
yeah,
reappropriated.
doesn't count.
World,
No, that's
world
just
music is fun.
appropriation.
Euphemism.
They're
Oh, that's
reappropriate.
I like
yeah.
that.
Yeah,
That's bad.
taking it back for themselves.
Why don't we do this then? After Daft Pop Punk,
Uh-huh.
why don't we start Vampire the Weekend? And it's just Vampire Weekend songs in the style
in
of
the
the
style
weekend.
of the weekend. So it's just like you do a bunch of blow and slow it down and just flash slow strobes while fucking play the song.
The best part about that is Mike and I write the songs, we go into the recording studio, and we look at each other and we're like, I don't know what the weekend is. Like, what are we supposed to do here?
I've seen the album. Should we just make both of our faces bloody right
I
now?
saw Uncut Gems. Does that count?
Yeah, you get his vibe.
I'm going to stop talking now.
Okay. I like it. I'm going to stop talking now. No, wait, I can't. I'm the host. Greg?
Vampire Weekend, I think we like as much as anyone who's never been on a yacht possibly could.
Yeah.
Like-
We've been on rowboats,
Yeah.
slow boats, some fast
And-
boats, but never a yacht.
And not to brag, but like we've been around yachts, right? We've
seen
never
one.
been on one, but like we've been adjacent. There's some docks near us where you could get kind of close to some pretty nice yachts.
Yeah.
So I think that's why we connect with Vampire Weekend.
But would you, like,
babe.
anti-vote? Like, just vote for the other thing so as to not like Vampire Weekend?
No, I love Vampire Weekend. It's just like you said. It's sort of it's a little bit of a guilty pleasure. The whole Graceland thing was a little bit awkward, like when you're copying someone who's already doing it
Yeah.
dirty.
I've heard a wise man told me it's reappropriating.
Yeah.
And that makes it okay.
But this album, like musically, I think is very, very strong, and it's fun. Like it's fun to listen to.
Yeah, so often a band is like, this is my mature album. And you're like, oh, it's going to fuck you, man. Like, and they didn't lose the fun at all. Like,
Totally.
And I do think they're just like, you can't call them wonderkins anymore. They're just like, I do think that they're some of the greatest living musicians who still do like live band togetherness. Even though, isn't mostly Ezra these days? Nobody? All right.
You guys, You guys are crazy for this. I'm gonna let you guys talk about Vampire Weekend for long enough. This is fucking insane.
I love it.
This is truly, this is what's cool about the 10 year is you could see when we didn't come, because the fact that this was allowed to happen is wild.
So it's not just that you don't care for this album. You think it sucks?
Vampire Weekend sucks.
Oh, shit.
We're kind of cringe old people, so it's bound to happen.
I think they're closer in age to these guys than us, though. I don't know. So you're saying Fiona Apple's the idler wheel. Blah, 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 blah.
This is, in this instance, this is a matchup where Fiona is going to get my vote.
Ryan's just nodding. Caitlin.
Yeah, I'm not a Fiona fan.
Too dolphin-esque, I've heard, is how you describe her.
I like it if you put more dolphins. Too many dogs, more dolphins is what I would give to Fiona as a note. But no, Vampire Weekend, I think it's just fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it is kind of one of those, like, Imagine Dragons kind of just like...
Do not put that radioactive
the same
Whoa.
one in the same.
Wow.
That's
I would say they're slightly better.
But
I would cast me on this. They're not that great.
I like them.
Bananas. They're Boyhaim.
At one point, Vampire Weekend listened to world music. It was called Now That's What I Call World Music, but they did listen to that album, and they made music like that, and so we're smarter than you guys.
Look, they were co-classmates of mine at a school I'm not allowed to talk about because I'm being told it's pretentious. I can't vote against my boys. Books, it's voting time. Where are you going?
Oh, I'm going with Fiona Apple.
Gregory.
Fiona Apple.
Ryan.
I want to give props to Vampire Weekend for. I think that everybody's band name should be sound like an awesome '80s movie.
Yes.
Like when you love the movie Vampire Weekend.
Yeah, it's after Lost Boys blew up. Somebody's like, we could make that, right? It's Weekend at Bernie's mixed with Lost Boys.
I'm taking a stand and say that it's Fiona Apple.
Cassie. I'm
Fiona
assuming.
Apple. Yeah.
Caitlin.
Vampire Weekend.
That is shocking. Do you like this album though?
Fiona Apple's album?
No, Vampire Weekend.
I thought it was kind of fun. Like, you can dance to it.
Yeah, that is the Caitlin bar, which is a fine bar to have, is can I dance? I think I can dance to Hot Butter, because he's a hot knife, and that's going to make me dance. It's not a clean sweep, but it's very close. It's Fiona Apple.
Do you guys think if Bad TV was still around, we would have a Fiona Apple sings Christmas songs, and then Caitlin would just dolphin her way through Christmas songs?
Yes. It might sound
a little something like this.
Round 1, Battle 6. Beyonce's Lemonade. Another of the greats who went, music videos will never be dead as long as I am living.
Did every song get one?
Every song got one. This was, I think, a video
whole
album
movie,
first.
right?
Yeah.
Man, I don't know who the guy is that she's singing about, but I would not want to be him. Dude, he sounds
we'll
like
find
he's in
out.
trouble.
Who
Yeah.
could it be?
He's probably kind of a cuck and probably small-willed. And
I would lay low if I were him.
I bet he gets the shit kicked out of him when he's in an elevator.
Oh, yeah, that's his kryptonite. This is versus Lord's Melodrama.
Hey.
The young New Zealander would go on to inspire Billie Eilish. She hasn't said that. That's just what Mike assumes because he's old.
They sound sort of similar. They're both young, right?
Yeah, I think it's dark pop.
Somebody else's car.
It's people who sound like, hey, I know SoundCloud music has a certain sound, but it also isn't good. I'll do a good version of that.
This is, I think she was 19 when this album came out, so it's like her more mature album.
She knew more about the world.
Man, sorry, Mike, but I forgot about Lorde a little bit and forgot about her importance until she announced that she has an album coming out, and then just watching the world be like, yes, yes, oh my God, yes. Our Lord and Savior.
2016's album of the year became Beyonce's most critically acclaimed album of her career as she crafted a cohesive collection of pop songs tackling infidelity, black love, slavery, and so much more, all via music videos. The songs are pretty okay, too. It's up against Greg's pick, Melodrama, which saw the young Kiwi wrestle with fame, heavy drinking, heartbreak, and solitude by way of bombastic, cathartic dark pop. Greg, why does Lord's Melodrama deserve to be discussed?
I think because, as Ryan alluded to, when she announced that her new album was coming out and dropped her single, Solar, the huge ripple through pop culture. And I think everybody had sort of forgotten how much we all liked Lorde. And it made me just reflect on her again. And I thought, wow, Melodrama came out and it was like such an important album for me for like 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And so in a way it encapsulates that time personally for me perfectly, but also it felt like I hadn't thought about it in a while. And musically, it's just very mature. And I see the connection to Billie Eilish because she's also a young artist.
Yeah.
And it's not just simply the fact that she's young that makes her interesting. It's that the music is very complex. The lyrics are well ahead of their time. She's precocious. And it's kind of the same tragedy in a way that plays out over and over again because the damage that's implicit in all of this is like so apparent. But as like I think she's 19 when this album comes out, it's a mature album, which is like almost a tragedy in a way because it's like she should not be so artistically mature.
But like, isn't it so much easier and better and fulfilling when you do think that the artist is a well-adjusted person as opposed to I'm listening to an album that the record company took advantage of, and like she's just crying out the entire time. Yeah. This just feels like a well-adjusted, cool music person.
Lorde does.
Yes.
I don't know because like it was only 3 years, but 16 to 19 feels like a long time for those kids. And like for a 19-year-old to write an album about her drinking problems does mean the industry did her dirty.
Drinking, pills, like it seems like...
So Mike forgot about when he was 19.
I truly have forgotten about when I was 19.
Because too much drinking.
The record industry did me dirty.
But I mean, it sounds like someone who's like sober and 36, and like, and she has always kind of sounded like that, and she's always gotten a lot of heat for looking older than she is. But it feels like there's too many miles on this album for someone as young as she is.
Books, do you agree that Lorde sounds more mature than her age in this album?
Oh, absolutely. I think there's it's not just sonically, but lyrically, it surpasses what she had produced before.
Oh, yeah.
And it does have a tinge of sadness because 19 is still so young to be feeling emotionally these things and to be able to capture them in words. It's almost like
just all old as shit to be like 19's too young to feel heartbreak and get drinking problems.
Well, no, because it's not heartbreak.
But usually
it's
it
like
takes reflection. Years of reflection to capture that. So this means that like at 15 she was feeling those things, and 19 she was able to put them into words.
Ah, shit.
As a very mature 29-year-old, I walk around where
so much laughter. That was me.
I walk around where teens hang out, like point at 19-year-olds and say, like, buck up, idiot. It's not that fucking bad. Like, it's going to get way worse.
Best years of your life.
I also think that this album is impressive because she had a mega hit, right?
Yes.
Under her belt and didn't chase it. Like, I don't know if any of these are singles, you know?
Yeah.
They became singles, but they're not like,
and
those
obviously,
types of,
well, that's what I think why Lorde's interesting is because, like, obviously there's always been teen pop stars, and she is not a Britney Spears. Like, there's a control, and I'm not talking Britney Spears. No, we don't do that anymore.
Fucking careful,
we all
bro.
apologize for what we used to do. But the maturity and the thought and reflectiveness in this album, our teen pop stars from our high school days, the elder people in the room, are like outblows them away. Caitlin,
yes,
both of these albums, in a way, could be described as dancey. How do they stack up on the Caitlin scale?
Well, I hadn't listened to Lorde's album in a long time. So just replaying it again and hearing the album, I was also blown away by how old she sounded for being so young and mature. And then I feel like it holds up. Like, I feel like 1985, some of the songs like Welcome to New York, it's like, okay, it's no longer cool anymore. It's like, it was cool because of the hype. This whole album, I feel like, could stand up as an album if it was released today, and I feel like it's
timeless. Then could be released today.
Yes, indeed.
I like it.
Where Beyonce threw out some really cool bangers as well, and the music videos were pretty fucking cool. And like Taylor Swift threw some crazy storylines in there. Everyone was talking about it. Pop culture was like, "Oh my god, who is this about? Who's Becky?
Who is Becky?
I don't know.
Did we learn?
I didn't look that deep
Is
into
it
it, to
Taylor?
be honest.
It was weird. While Caitlin was talking, I could see Ryan starting to get in formation, which was crazy.
This, I feel like what gives this the inside track is, didn't it dominate its time? And like, I mean, this was like the entire cultural conversation. That question of who's Becky is just one of like the 100 questions that were constantly being discussed when this album was out.
A couple of things, like personal things about this album is this album came out on the weekend I proposed to my wife. The one where she said yes. And
Yeah, we don't talk about the other weekend.
so we listened to it the entire time. And but like 3 weeks ago, I bought this album on vinyl, guys. So this is in my collection, yes.
Oh, Cassie. And to do like a lot of the albums throughout this list are people being like, Beyonce was so far into her career and still this is her most vulnerable open, but on Beyonce album. And at the same time being like, and here's the history of black folks in America with music and culture. It's like, how can you do both of those things at once? Yeah.
There's also like so many pop stars, rap stars, and rock stars. Does that cover the only genres that matter? Yeah, okay.
Well, Beethoven.
That
And
that dog?
Yeah.
Okay, he's good. That eventually get overwhelmed by their hype. Like they used to have albums about like being poor and they were relatable, and then all they do is they create music about how great they are, and they have that knowledge of how great they are. And I don't know, like I've never seen her do this. I've just seen her like, oh fuck, I'm an even bigger icon than I was last time, so I'm going to live up to the challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy because both albums have a reason for coming out. Like, this one has a story to tell and everything, and then Lords came out just because, like, as we said, she wasn't chasing hits. This was her, how she dealt with it. Mm-hmm. This was, like, she just needed to put that out there, and this one needed to tell a story, so.
Yeah. They both feel like, I need to say this so I don't go insane.
Yeah.
Greg, it's voting time.
I think for the reason I laid out, which is that it was just the biggest pop culture moment of that year, I'm gonna give the edge to Lemonade.
Fair. Books.
I'm going to go personally biased on this one and which one I want to listen to more, and that's actually Lorde. So that's just a personal opinion.
All right. Greg is braver because he voted against his choice. Yeah, I guess you're brave too because the room's going to hate you now.
Yep.
Ryan.
For me, it's absolutely Beyonce, and I do real quick want to play the title track, if that's cool.
Yeah.
This is Beyonce's doing a whole new thing here.
Yeah.
This is kind of like the Sting album he did, and they did the weird 1800s thing. This is that.
This is the Chris Gaines of Beyonce's career.
So brave to do it.
This is, if we're doing Behind the Curtains, this is big in the world of PopFilter without never showing up on the PopFilter podcast. This owned a summer. Caitlin.
Yes.
Who are you voting for?
I'm kind of here with books. I am going with what I'm like more excited for the future and what I'm going to be continuing to listen to and loving. I'm going with Lorde.
I love when we get podcast divides. Cassie.
For me, it's got to be Beyonce.
And Beyonce takes it down.
Again, closer than I thought.
Lemonade moves on. This show is exciting. We're going to take a quick break, and then the excitement continues.
Hey, guys, thank you so much for listening so far. And let me just tell you that everything ahead of this commercial is much better than what came before it. That's my guarantee. While I have you here, let me tell you about a website. It's called YourPopFilter.com. And it's everything you need that's related to PopFilter. Everything Mike, everything Ryan, everything Greg, everything Cassie, everything is there at YourPopFilter.com. While you're there, go to YourPopFilter.com/Amazon. Make that your new Amazon bookmark and do your shopping from there. That way, we get a little piece of the action and Amazon doesn't. Make sure you're also listening to everything that PopFilter has to offer, which includes the Superhero Show, a podcast that covers every single TV show that's based on a comic book or comic book property, and Movie of the Year, where we sit down and try and figure out what is the single greatest movie of any given year. That's Superhero Show, that's Movie of the Year, and that's YourPopFilter.com. Rate, subscribe, review. Bye!
Round 1, Battle 7. Bombay Bicycle Club's So Long, See You Tomorrow. This band thought they would win longest album title on the bracket, not knowing the other wheel has a longer name.
I will bathe myself, and then I'll wear you for the night. Colors fading, frayed at the sight.
Love those drums kick in. This album is going up against D'Angelo's Black Messiah. 14 years in between Voodoo and Black Messiah, and this album taught me he was more than just a man with what gave us a name for something better than cum gutters. Love well-placed claps.
Greg, as the resident exerciser of this group,
Yes.
I've heard that you can have arm days and leg days.
Yes.
Can you have D'Angelo days? Can you make those fucking babies pop?
I'm guessing yes, but abs are not my joint for sure. And I think that it's something that you got to get down in the lower ab area.
Greg, can you have D'Angelo Barksdale days where you think you're working for your uncle who loves you and then he gets you killed?
I hope not.
This
I
battle
don't want to work.
is for long-term friends of the show who could not be on today's episode. Co-host of MILF and lovely boy Tompkins pick Bombay Bicycle Club's So Long See You Tomorrow is the group's fourth album as they expanded their sound into world music, doing a reverse Vampire Weekend, bleeding perfectly with their harmonies and indie rock bops. Taylor, host of one's Hat News and the other I'll Drink This Root Beer and Rate It, and former Superhero Show host. Let me find my spot. Submission is D'Angelo's Black Messiah, which ended the R&B artist's 14-year hiatus with a funky-laden modern ode to pre-digital black music paired with topical and vulnerable lyrics. I want to dig into Bombay Bicycle Club, one of those bands that I had heard of forever and never listened to until the few weeks leading up to this, because some people give you a band a week, and you're like, dude, I can listen to one of four.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be every one. I liked Fleet Foxes, but thought they got too pretentious. And I loved Vampire Weekend, and thought they were too yacht-based. And Bombay Bicycle Club, oh fuck, do they go, you want all that and also not feel bad about listening to us? Here's your album.
Let me just say, for Mike Gravano, him, to say this band is too pretentious, like that, I don't, and therefore I don't like them. That is insane. Like
Fleet Foxes, and then the Blues. I forget the full. That album is dope, but I think I cannot separate them from Father John Misty, who is pretension in a human meat sack. Like he cannot escape from it, and that guy sucks. So every time I think about Fleet Foxes, I think about him. Yeah, I'm not a fan.
Yeah, Bombay Bicycle Club is one of those bands that you hear about a lot, and I was like, all right, this will be a great opportunity to listen to them. And it was like adjacent to stuff that I like, and I can hear how it is like bands that I really like. But I don't know why, maybe I didn't give them enough of a chance. Left me just a little cold.
Yeah.
I mean, makes a lot of the same moves that like Vampire Weekend does, or a Decemberists, and just, I don't know, didn't quite connect with me.
Did you miss the voice that sings like this? Wait, I started Decemberist and went to Liza Minnelli, and I apologize.
You know what? I do miss Liza Minnelli's voice. Cabaret is a banger and always will be.
You spitting straight facts there, Greg. Now I want to just talk about Cabaret. D'Angelo's Black Messiah. Taylor cannot be here. Greg, why does it deserve to be talked about?
I feel like if Taylor were here, he would say, this is a whole vibe.
Oh, that sounds like Taylor. I thought he walked in the room.
It's essentially one long track that as much feels like a meditation. Mm-hmm. And I am not a huge R&B or funk fan, generally.
Yeah.
And not because I dislike them, but just because I can't legitimately call myself a fan of them.
Right.
But the way it's employed in this album to just set a constant mood and like a flow from beginning to end, if there was a drawback to it, it would be that nothing, to me anyway, stood out as like anything like a single, or it's kind of like, this is like what we talked about earlier, like you're either in for the whole thing or none of it.
The other thing we talked about earlier was the Lord album coming out soon.
Yes.
And how that, like, when this album came out, the whole country was like, yeah, D'Angelo, remember? Yeah. Like, he's so awesome and important. And all of us were probably born because that album came out.
Oh, yeah. It is sexy and it grooves. And so does this one. I think you said there's not a real single, but I feel that cohesive. Like, I did not listen to this and go, this sounds like an ode to pre-digital African-American music. read that for sure. But I can feel that where it seems like it's telling the one story and everything weaves together. It is one long ass, like 55 minute story it's telling. And one of my favorite albums of the last few years, fantastic. I always mix the album and the artist name. Fantastic Negrito's album, I do not think would exist without Black Messiah. It's definitely somebody who went, oh, we're allowed to just go back to the 70s and do that now? I'm fucking doing it. And it grooves. Caitlin, Dance Queen. This is a definitely two. I would argue white people could dance to one of these albums and black people could dance to one of these albums and refuse to dance to the other one. As the dancing expert, which one of these gets you down and dirty?
I mean, personally for me, it's Bombay Bicycle Club.
Interesting.
Bombay.
That's the name.
Which
okay.
is an interesting way that you phrase that question to her because Bombay Bicycle Club, those initials are BBC. So, good question, Mike.
Yes, that's a great question that I understand. Keep going.
Greg, has Mike literally never watched porn? What the fuck, man?
Every single week, you'll make
Is he
some sort of
fucking
reference
with
to
us?
pornography that I laugh at, and he's like, gives us the real wide-eye look, and I just pretend that I don't also know that it's about porn, so that maybe you will take
He's working on still on the one VHS tape that his uncle gave him.
It is fun to freak you guys out with my innocence. Like, I could say the filthiest shit, you'd be like, hell yeah. But when I'm just like, I don't know what that porn trend is, you're like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
It's just very confusing. But we'll tell you off air.
Good. McKenna, what's BBC stand for? Or you could talk about one of these albums.
We're going to talk about one of these albums. Just casually avoid that. When I first listened to essentially all of the albums for this show, I did it on shuffle like a dumbass. But it seemed like the easiest way to just randomly get through a lot of songs. I had never listened to Bombay Bicycle Club. And D'Angelo's album, I think I'd only listened to a couple of times. First song I heard, I thought Bombay Bicycle Club was going to be an album that I was like, this is definitely for me. Listening to them both a few times, D'Angelo's is just better. It is so much stronger. And the more I listened to Bombay Bicycle Club, the less I liked it, which is an interesting effect.
I do think Bombay Bicycle Club, it makes me want to rent a Schwinn and just fucking drive next to a beach. You drive a bike, right? Drive next to a beach, totally. Like sipping a seltzer while I'm riding my bike. That is a perfect summer day. And D'Angelo's Black Messiah, you could be alone staring at the wall sipping whiskey. You could be grooving and moving, making some children like Ryan said we were all made because of his last album. Like, it does seem to apply to more. It sounds like a score to a movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, like, on these bracket shows, we really try to not just say the important one wins.
Right.
But sometimes the important one wins.
Yeah,
you know?
There's definitely that, too.
When the important one also, I think, is fun, then it also wins. Because this isn't, I don't think this even leans, obviously, most of us are Fiona Apple lovers, but I don't think this leans important and weird the way it would.
Yeah, it
bother
doesn't feel
Caitlin.
like homework or anything.
No,
Right.
it washes over and you're just like, fuck, this guy should make more albums.
And it was so obvious that he's like, I'm more than just sexy. And you listen to the album like, dude, you're still so sexy. Shut the
Turn
fuck up,
history
dude.
sexy. I wish all my history lessons were given like this
Nothing
voice.
is sexier than someone who's more than just sexy.
Do you remember when your 9th grade history teacher was like, I turned history sexy? Like,
yeah. Oh, he
what a
did,
weird
and
guy.
then
Yeah,
he got arrested.
That guy, yeah, they got rid of him.
But he was a good teacher. I got a lot of A's.
His name? D'Angelo.
It is voting time. Caitlin, I think I know what you're going to say.
I'm actually going to go with D'Angelo.
Oh, shit!
Because I can dance more to Bombay Bicycle Club, but I like Book said, I think D'Angelo's better.
That's true. I put myself in a corner by asking you a specific kind of question of which one could you dance more to, and you fucking flipped the script on me. Chaos, always. Cassie.
Yeah, I'm glad. I never heard of Bombay Bicycle Club before, though, so I was glad to, like, discover it, because it's the perfect one to throw in a playlist. It's a perfect, like, it can go in a lot of playlists, so, but it is going to be Black Messiah, D'Angelo, for me.
The way you said it, I also always want to say Bombay Blast by Mountain Dew's Bicycle Club. And that should be the name of the album. Ryan.
I want to back up what Cassie said. I think that it's awesome to have one that's not maybe a super contender, but still in here and we can talk about. Like, that's what I think the bracket's all about, is just to put the album in here so we can say. I do want to give props to Mike for coming up with what it's like a metaphor for listening to Bombay Bicycle Club. And his metaphor was like, it's like I joined a bicycle club. That was,
Schwinn is, oh my God.
Yeah, that was really good. But no, it's D'Angelo.
I'm a metaphorist. I know what slant rhymes are. Greg?
Yeah, glad we had a chance to cover Bombay Bicycle Club, but definitely going to go with D'Angelo.
Books.
It's D'Angelo.
Clean sweep. Though I cannot wait for the next month to house this album and then yell at all of you. Be like, I think we might have all been wrong. And then you'll say, no. It wasn't up against 1989. It was up against Black Messiah. And I'm like, oh, you're right. I overreacted.
Not me. I'll just go, no, oh man, we probably were wrong.
Oh, no. That's why, too supportive, I'd say, Greg. Your weakness, you are too supportive.
You're right.
Round 1, Battle 8. Our second of 2 double artists. This is Kendrick Lamar's To Pimp a Butterfly.
I got a bone to pick. I don't want you monkey mouth motherfucker sitting in my throne again. I'm mad, but I ain't stressing. True friends. One question. Bitch, where you and I was
for months, I could not walk into any room singing, "What's the yams?" And it did give my family a tradition every Thanksgiving where they throw things at me when I say, "Mom, where's the yams?" This is up against Adele's 21. Oh, to be 21 and to be able to play the piano this good. I could only play the Imperial Death March.
Oh, to be this talented and have everyone talk about something different about you.
To be this sad and have access to a phone late at night.
To have an ex with the longest voicemail plan in the world.
Holy shit.
What?
This is the first battle where I own both albums on vinyl.
Oh! Ryan.
Finally, I get the credit I deserve.
2015's Album of the Year, To Pimp a Butterfly, was Lamar's third album. It saw him evolve his sound to include jazz, spoken word, avant-garde, West Coast rap, and more, while becoming more politically conscious than his previous efforts. 2011's album, the oldest album of the year since we've been doing this show, is Adele's 21, the Brits' love letter to American Southern blues, while wrestling with heartbreak, introspection, and forgiveness, and how much American media sucks for not just talking about her talent while dealing with other things. Ryan, I find this very difficult because even in my head, these came out the same year and were formative difficult in putting them in the context of the history of PopFilter.
I see, okay.
But no, it's not difficult because one came out 4 years later and it still feels like it helped our origin, even though, nope, To Pimp a Butterfly is years in. Rolling in the Deep. Nope, that's 21. Talk about it.
I do think that there are times where we as a mainstream will find talent. You know, just we're like, oh, holy shit. Like, she can really do anything. Like, one of these people like Whitney Houston or Aretha Franklin, Jennifer Hudson, where like, we just want to see you go off, you know? This album, start to finish, is a really good mix of like, here are my thoughts, but it's not like deep and dark. It's not Fiona or Lord. You know, it's still like on this level where like they became standards, like almost like in a Frank Sinatra way.
Yes,
these became standards that like future Frank Sinatras, they will sing these songs. But sorry, Adele. You know,
the kind of songs that you're like at karaoke and you're like, oh, I like that song.
I could probably do this.
You put it on as soon as it starts, people are like, oh wow, and you're like, oh, why is everybody? Oh no,
I can't hit those notes.
Why did somebody just light a fire in the corner of the room?
I do like. There's a few songs on 21 where if you put it on in a private karaoke room, that everybody in the room will start stomping their feet and exactly just like, oh, I'm the star until you try to sing. Anybody want to? Let's more nice things about Adele because I think it's clear. I might be wrong. I think it's clear.
This is not a nice thing, but this is
but I got some shit to talk.
It's just to me, it's a less complete album. Like Ryan, you said, like from first track to last track. I feel like personally, when I listen to it, I get fired up about like 5 different tracks,
right?
And then there's like 10 additional, and like her talent as a singer is like almost unparalleled.
Yes.
And so you will listen to her sing anything, but with her greater songs, like Rolling in the Deep, I think you realize that there's more to her.
Yeah.
And that's what, you know, that the energy comes through more in some songs than others. Whereas like To Pimp a Butterfly, again, this is one of these like totally holistic albums.
Yeah.
And not because everything sounds the same, but because everything sounds different.
Right.
Like everything he is able to do.
But still, like, of a piece.
Yeah, it's in conversation with each other, which I heard smart people say about things.
Yeah, it's like it's eclectic, right? Like
Yeah.
and he does that with his own voice, even.
Yeah.
And there is maybe a sameness to her B-sides that like makes me, I don't know, tune out slightly.
I mean, the other thing is that, like, she never intended to do a, like, think piece album, you know?
Right,
like, she
yeah.
did intend to do those, like, throw your lighter in the air sort of songs, but eventually we have to say
Torch
that,
songs?
like, torch songs.
Right?
This Adele's album is so good, and I loved it for like the nostalgia factor. But I said this when it first came out, and I still feel the same. It is an album where if you're listening, someone's listening to it in the next room over, you will have a hard time distinguishing what exact song is playing for about 5 of the songs.
Young McKenna was right.
What if McKenna was like, and I said this when I first heard it, in 3 years, Kendrick Lamar will have a better album.
Damn, prophetic.
I do have to say, though, Adele does have great songs to belt out in the car by herself and just feel.
And bawl.
And just bawl.
She is one of those songs where you could be in a happy mood and you start singing along and you're like, why am I crying now?
It does have, like, as a pop culture moment, I guess. Everybody knew when this album came out, like, this was, you were going to get together and cry to it.
Yeah.
Like, we had, in this time, we were in our dorm room, and there would be girls, so they would be like, tonight we're listening to Adele. And there would be cry nights that you would just, like, you had a box of tissues, so you put Adele on and you cried in a room. Like, that was, as a cultural moment, you just got together and cried to Adele.
It does feel like, because around this time, Vampire Weekend was like, remember Paul Simon in the 80s? Between her and Amy Winehouse and a couple other pop stars, Lizzie Allen, they were like, remember, there was women also had music in this era, and I'm going to harken back to that and older. And like, people so much talk about like the 80s and 70s revival, and these pop stars were like, fuck that. No. We're doing the entire history of music on my album, and I'm British, but you don't even appreciate American history. So, it is time to vote. Caitlin.
Oh, man. Wow, hard, Kendrick.
Cassie.
Kendrick.
Ryan.
Kendrick.
Greg.
To Pimp a Butterfly.
Books.
Kendrick.
Clean sweep. To Pimp a Butterfly moves on, ending our first round. When we come back, the Elite Eight. Round 2. Battle 1. And this one hurts. Run the Jewels 2 versus Dirty Computer. Ryan, I guess at this point we could say all of these albums have defined your pop filter at different times, but this feels like the hardest battle I've had to fight so far.
Well, I bet the next one's worse. But, so I guess this is a good time to talk about, we've talked a lot about, like, I think it was Mac was talking about, like, Adele has 5 songs.
Yeah.
And as great as they are, that batting average is kind of low. Talk about, so that's what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about everything as one piece, and I think maybe, because this is so close, you have to find, like,
I love your
nitpicks,
vagueness.
right?
I cannot tell which album you're thinking about.
You have to find nitpicks, and I think one of the issues here is that Run the Jewels, they're so bad at naming albums that it's hard for me to remember which one is which. Whereas when you say Dirty Computer, I know what that is. I know everything I went through. I just, like, I make fun of Caitlin in my brain. Like, I think that I have to vote right now.
You can, you may, and you will.
I'm going with Janelle Monae.
All right. Books.
I'm also going
Final
with Dirty
thoughts
Computer.
on Run the Jewels. And...
Oh, I'm just voting.
Damn. No, I love it. You fucking did it, girl. That's fine. Okay, I need to start to cause some drama. I'm going to look around the room and guess.
Sometimes you could just say Ryan takes too long to talk, or you could just do what she just did, which says it anyway.
You don't have to talk shit. You can just show it with your actions. Caitlin.
Run the Jewels.
All right. Cassie.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for Run the Jewels. It's always going to be Run the Jewels with me.
I love that we are 2-2. I'm trying to read Greg's body language. I don't know which way he'll go.
And history of the show dictates that if Mike likes his pick, then that's the winner. And if Mike doesn't, then he'll just say, I'm the host! And whatever he wants.
I feel like the board has told me I'm allowed to use I'm the host 2 times throughout all of the end
I
of
love
year
rules.
shows.
I love rules.
Okay.
And I foolishly did it once before they slipped me that piece of paper.
Oh, so that means you have 2 more then.
As
Yeah,
as Ryan said, and a couple of us alluded to, it's not that there's any bad albums in this, but I do think there are a couple of the weaker Run the Jewels songs on this album, and that are skips that you would skip.
I feel so differently.
I never want to listen to the song "Dick in the Mouth" all day, like ever again. I'm sad that it exists.
But she has a rebuttal verse.
I
She has
know,
her clit in his
yeah,
mouth all day.
yeah,
That's
I
a great
know.
relationship.
Yeah, I know.
That's just 69ing all day.
That's beautiful. But I think there's an even more sex positive album than that, and it's Dirty Computer.
I get what you guys are saying. It might be too much. I love this Run the Jewels album. I do think it's their best album. I feel very differently about Dick in the Mouth all day. And having one, honestly. But Dirty Computer, I think musically is I can't keep saying is the best album. It is so fucking great, and what she blends and the Prince-ness she brings. But going back, if you take a couple years off of Dirty Computer and go back, the goofiest, dumbest fucking lyrics sometimes on some of these songs. But the power of that guitar outweighs how silly her shit is.
Over Run the Jewels?
Yeah, but
Run the Jewels are capable of some silly shit.
and maybe there's a time where you can hear them smirking and laughing, especially if you watch videos of them performing, where her album is pretty straight-faced. It doesn't feel like she's like, isn't this stuff funny?
No, yeah, there's a lack of irony there. Sure.
Yeah, and you're like, can't you smirk? Can't you laugh at the dumb thing you just said? But
You're wearing vagina pants. Come on.
Dirty Computer moves on. Next up, we have Fiona Apple's Fetch the Bolt Cutter versus, these are the 2 artists who are on here. Double.
Toil and Trouble.
Oh, that's Trochaic Rhythm, my friend, versus Kendrick Lamar's Damn Books.
Shit.
Come out.
I'm gonna go with Damn.
Greg.
Oh, man. It's never easy, is it? I'm going to say Damn.
Damn, Ryan.
I feel like this is Fiona Apple's best album on the bracket and Kendrick Lamar's worst. So
interesting.
I think 2 Pimp is so much better than Damn. And I do actually think that Bolt Cutters is better than Idler. So I'm going Fiona Apple.
I agree with half of what you said, and I refuse to reveal which half. Cassie.
Same. I agree with some of those statements, but it's gonna be Damn.
Caitlin.
It's Damn.
Yeah, I don't even know if Fiona Apple's on the board, if I have to have Caitlin vote. So wait, I didn't count at all. So it was all Damn except for Ryan?
Yes.
I guess so.
Damn moves on.
Mike forgot the word on.
No, it is.
Moves in? It's going to live with us now?
Clearly Kendrick's weaker album. That's all. Next up, you have, she's back again. You cannot keep her down. Fiona Apple's The Either Wheel Ellipses versus Beyonce's Fuck Lemonade. Cassie, how you feeling?
On this one, I'm still gonna stick with Beyonce. I'm staying true.
All right. Caitlin?
I'm also going with Beyonce.
I just wanted to get that out of the way. Ryan? Hurts.
I guess we're just gonna fucking kick Fiona Apple out of the entire thing. I'm going with Beyonce.
Who invited the 20s, honestly? Greg?
I have to go with an answer that is true to me, which is this is my favorite Fiona album. Fiona Apple album. So I'm going to say Idler.
So we got 2-2. Books, it's on you.
I'm with Greg on this. I'm going with the Idler.
Holy shit.
I did not want to use 2 of my 3 double host vote
you
in
said you
one
only had
show.
2.
I know, but no, Ryan said the board slipped me after.
Okay.
But you know what? Fuck this. I've been keeping your fucking secret for too long. Mike has said to me multiple times in private, pinky sworn, he does not think Beyonce is good at music.
That is not true.
He does not understand why Beyonce is popular, and now is the time to talk about it.
There are so many artists that is true. It is so weird for you to throw that in my face about.
Honestly, I just want... Wouldn't it be cool to just be attacked by a fan base? Yeah, like, that would be sweet.
I just want that.
It's
I
too
want
late.
people to dox me.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
Dox me, Bayhive.
What if the FBI ran in right now?
Just took me out. Ryan thinks Uber's overrated. Doesn't get why. She's been famous for decades. Fuck you.
Did you say Uber?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, wait.
I
We
do
all
think-
hate Uber.
Ryan savagely takes down Uber. He doesn't care what you think, listeners.
So Fiona Apple, The Other Wheel, which I think is her better album. This moved on. Next up is D'Angelo's Black Messiah versus Kendrick's To Pimp a Butterfly. Two socially conscious. One's R&B and groovy. One's very rapid. West Coast represent.
And again, I will repeat, in brackets, we love socially conscious. Man, we fucking love that shit.
We like to talk shit on like the Oscars and the Emmys, but we're suckers for it. This is our Colin Firth is somebody from a different time period in a suit. For sure.
The thing that white people love the most is to ask, who's more socially conscious? They fucking love that shit.
Cassie.
Who's more socially conscious?
In this room, go.
Oh, can I rate everyone down the line?
Yes.
Please do.
And look, remember, carrying a tiki torch in Charlottesville is still socially conscious.
Okay.
It's just on the wrong side of the spectrum.
Noted. If I'm actually going to vote, it's going to go to Pimp a Butterfly.
All right, Bucks.
Also go with To Pimp a Butterfly. Can't fucking say it, but I like it.
Ryan.
I learned some stuff today, and I would like to point out Cassie's bravery in even being able to say the title of this album.
Yeah.
That's so big of her.
She's afraid of pimps.
We learned today that Cassie's biggest fear over
Biggest
anything else, murder, meteors, whatever, is butterflies.
Murder by meteor.
But she listened to this album bravely, and it's absolutely To Pimp a Butterfly.
Greg?
Yeah, it's definitely To Pimp a Butterfly.
Caitlin?
Yes.
Not only is this, I do think, the better album, it definitely defines both our 10 years and the world's 10 years more than Black Messiah. So that moves on. That is the end of your second round. Ryan, tell them where you're from.
Straight out of Compton. This is one of the few albums on the bracket where Mike, me, and you, and everyone else we know, we're like counting down the days to the release.
Yeah,
you know, like albums just come out. You know, you listen to them or you don't. But like this was like 2 weeks, dude. 2 weeks until this comes out.
And it was because like Good Kid, Mad City. I was like, oh, this kid's pretty good. And then there's just that bubbling where you're like, I cannot wait. It's just like the world shook.
So when you heard Good Kid, Mad City, you said this kid's pretty good, but you did not say that this city's pretty mad.
No,
you did not.
The city
comes off as pretty mad in that album.
Pretty mad.
Yeah, I think you need to give
Los
another
Angeles.
listen.
It's fine. I don't know how mad it is. That is your second round. Round 3 is Janelle Monae's Dirty Computer versus Kendrick Lamar's Damn. Bucks.
Dirty Computer.
Oh, that's fun. Greg.
Yeah, Dirty Computer for me as well.
Ryan.
It's Dirty Computer.
Cassie.
Wait, hold on. I forgot to spend like 3 minutes talking about why.
You pulled everybody else.
Oh, no. Damn.
I'm also going damn.
2 dams, 3 dirty computers. We can't have a Kendrick on Kendrick battle for this.
We
Dirty
can.
Computer moves
We
on.
can.
That would be very
absolutely
pop filtery, but Dirty Computer moves on. It's the most pop filter album, honestly.
Also, this will prevent us from having to be like, okay, now which one was on which album? Hang on.
Well, if it's in all caps and ends with a period, it's on Damn.
I remember when it came out, I spent an entire night. When To Pimp came out, I spent an entire night memorizing every single word of the title. It was a crazy night.
To Pimp a Butterfly?
Yeah, I have it memorized now.
What? Do it right now.
To Pimp a Butterfly.
Oh, shit. I took
crap.
I'm not as good as Ryan. It took 48 hours to remember his last album. Damn. Your next battle.
Is Damn an acronym, right?
What is it?
An acronym.
Oh, okay. Fiona Apple's, and this I did not memorize. The Idler Wheel versus Kendrick Lamar's To Pimp a Butterfly. Caitlin.
Oh, Kendrick.
Yeah, get that out of the way. Cassie.
Get it out of the way, Kendrick.
Ryan.
It's Kendrick.
Greg.
I'm going to use my vote for Fiona Apple.
Brave and bold.
I was on vacation with my wife when I got this CD, and it will forever sound like Maui.
I get that.
Yeah, so I have to vote for that one.
Oh, shit. Nico Case isn't on here? That's crazy. That album was so good, too.
Wanna
She has
do
a song
quick
about
redo?
Yeah.
Let's take
Nico
it
Case
again.
should win.
McKenna, we're going to get started over again.
Okay, all right.
Books.
It's Kendrick.
What are we going? That is Kendrick Lamar all the way. I would have voted Fiona, even though I do think this is the best Kendrick Lamar. This album is so good. All right, your final battle is To Pimp a Butterfly versus Dirty Computer. It was always obviously maybe going to end up versus these two.
Honestly, it's so crazy. When I looked at the 16 albums in the bracket, I was like, this is impossible. We'll never figure it out. It'll probably take hours. And it did.
And it did.
But looking at it now, the answer was so clear the entire time. Like, from start to finish, I think. I didn't realize until right now.
All right.
It's Vampire Weekend.
Not going to vote yet. Greg.
Yeah, this is probably the two of the most standout albums. There was like a 90% chance that we were going to get Kendrick Lamar or Fiona Apple in the final.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I think for me,
you can say pass and think about it.
It's going to end up being Kendrick Lamar. I think that it's a hard thing to put anything over Dirty Computer, but especially when I think about the context of, like, if the Enterprise is picking an album that really represents us, I think there is more unified thought on this than on Dirty Computer. And I think that Kendrick Lamar as an artist walking away with it makes a ton of sense as well.
Books?
This one's really tough, but I think I'm going to have to go with Kendrick Lamar as well.
Cassie?
Yeah, over 10 years, Kendrick deserves it. I'm going to go Kendrick.
Ryan?
Like, to put it into sports terms, it's like
oh, good. Now I can finally understand the show.
Like, you had an incredible college career or whatever, but then you were drafted high. You know, so like now we're all looking at you. Now what are you going to do? And the fact that this is what he did after, like,
sophomore slump, fuck you.
So it's not just like how incredible it is, but like the pressure and just like just such a home run. Basketball, baseball. I said them both in that. It's so Kendrick.
I'm also going Kendrick.
Is this because I have a bad instant memory recall? Clean sweep, Kendrick Lamar's To Pimp a Butterfly.
Yeah.
Nobody has a bone to pick with that. I also always had my money on this album taking it because I know how some people feel about Fiona Apple.
Yeah, I guess maybe I didn't consider that so many Apple haters in here, but
they're more bananas.
I really like. Now it seems so obvious, but like I didn't see this coming. But this is such the clear choice.
And if somebody was like, PopFilter music, go, I'd just be like, I got a bone to pick. It really is the album that defines the 10 years.
And if we had to do three, it would be Fiona, Kendrick, and Run the Jewels, right? Like those are the three.
If we're doing artists,
groups of the last 10
I do
years.
think nobody knew about any of them before we said, hey guys, you should listen to these three
Check out
young,
this
up and coming
Apple.
children.
And if we have to do four, I feel like Newfound Glory's cover songs come up a lot too.
That is,
so.
no matter what year they came out in, we will always bring them up. And behind the curtain, the Menzingers is a pretty good band you guys should come. Maybe because they're from Philadelphia, but I say check them out.
Boo.
No, wait, that city sucks. Books. What do you got to plug?
Oh, shit. I want to plug our own show. If you're looking for some chaos and a lot of Caitlin, a lot of Cassie, a lot of me, that's Unnatural 20s.
That is the Unnatural 20s at Unnatural 20s on Instagram, on Twitter, on wherever you get your podcast. You've heard all of our plugs. Thank you so much. I assume all of you have joined us throughout these last 10 years. We're going to keep doing these anniversary shows throughout the summer. Until then, keep listening to those albums and buying them on vinyl.